Hey everyone, happy Valentine's Day, and welcome to the special Valentine's edition of the Kris Kondrad Movie Review Show. Today I'll be suggesting some of my favorite romantic films on DVD for you and your sweetheart to check out on Netflix or whatever and curl up and enjoy on the couch on this special day. To start out, we'll start out with Random Harvest. There's no particular order here, but this is probably my favorite of all romance films. It's a little film from 1942, directed by the incredibly underrated director Mervyn LeRoy. Director you probably never heard of, but he actually co-directed Wizard of Oz. He directed such masterpieces of the 30s as Little Caesar, 2 Seconds, and I Am a Fugitive from a Chain Gang. And also this film from 1942, as I said. It stars Ronald Colman and Greer Garson as a happily married couple who have a wedge driven into the middle of their happy marriage by World War I. Ronald Colman is called to serve and goes off to war where he is hit by a mortar shell and ends up having a bad case of amnesia. He forgets that he was ever married to Greer Garson or that she ever existed, meets another woman and falls in love with her and becomes a successful businessman. Then he ends up hiring Greer Garson as a secretary, unbeknownst to him that they were one time married. Obviously she remembers and is still in love with him, but she doesn't want to mess with his fragile psyche and mess up his new relationship because she's such a damn sweetheart. And his new girl is very likable as well, which is one of the strengths of the movie, is it doesn't villainize her. It makes you, the audience, like both women, and then you like him, and they're all good people, and who's he going to end up with, and what's going to happen? Well, check this movie out, and you will see happy couples, unless you're some mentally retarded person that doesn't like black and white movies or old movies, then skip it, because, but if you have an open mind and some modicum of intelligence, this is a great treat for everyone to check out, a classic from yesteryear. Next up, we have 1981's An Officer and a Gentleman, directed by Taylor Hackford, director of my favorite Latino gangbanger film, Blood In, Blood Out, from the earlier mid-90s. Here he brings us a romantic, somewhat action drama. It's mostly a romance picture, starring a young Richard Gere and Deborah Winger, who I think is one of the greatest actresses ever. She just had a real naturalistic acting style. She wasn't gorgeous, but she was hella cute and would frequently get naked, as she does in this film, and that's one of her strengths. She just was a great actress all around. She plays a factory girl who falls in love with Richard Gere's flight candidate, an officer candidate flight school. He's trying to be a pilot and rise above his gritty blue-collar roots. Louis Gossett Jr. plays his drill instructor and won a Best Supporting Actor Academy Award for the film in the Oscars that year. And it's just a great film. It's got a fight scene between these two and some training action, and I think enough to keep the guys interested and enough romance for the girls. Lord, lift us up where we belong. And the greatest love song ever. It's actually not, but every time I hear that song in the grocery store or wherever I would happen to hear such a song, I always get misty because it's such a beautiful film. Next up, we've got Paul Thomas Anderson, otherwise known as P.T. Anderson's Punch Drunk Love, a little film from 2002 that I think is just an unsung masterpiece. He brought us such epic films as Boogie Nights and There Will Be Blood, two amazing, well-regarded films, and I love them both. But here he makes a much smaller scale, non-epic film. It's a 90-minute in-and-out, short little love story. It's really the only Adam Sandler movie I can stomach, except for maybe Happy Gilmore if I'm stoned enough. But this is a great movie. It's a dark comedy to a degree, but it's mostly just a awkward little romance. It's about Adam Sandler, who's got like 8 sisters, no brothers, and they browbeat him into kind of a wimpy guy who doesn't know how to handle women. One of his sisters introduces us to Emily Watson, who's one of her co-workers, and the two strike up an awkward romance. And it's just a short, sweet, beautiful little movie. It's got a hypnotic flow from the cinematography to the hypnotic soundtrack. It's a real gem. It's one of those movies a lot of people don't like, but I found it captivating and a nice checkout for happy couples. Next, for all you divorcees out there, we've got Divorce Italian Style, or Divorce all'Italiano, a film from 1962 out of Italy, directed by Pietro Germai, who directed mostly dark dramas, and at this point he took a departure and tried his hand at comedy and hit it right out the park with this one. It's his first comedy, and he made several after, but this is his best in my opinion. It stars the great Marcello Mastroianni as an Italian man married to a somewhat attractive woman who's a little plump and a little loud, but she's Italian. But he's pining for his younger, beautiful cousin, and she is gorgeous. Yeah, it's his first cousin. He wants to kill his wife and hook up with his beautiful first cousin. Hey, it's Italy in the 60s. I guess that shit was acceptable. And most of the movie he's fantasizing about different ways to kill his wife and peeping Tom on his cousin. And it's just a funny, dark classic of Italian comedy. So if you're divorced and want to enjoy something on Valentine's Day, and maybe this is something you should check out. Next up, we've got Prizzi's Honor, one of the best underrated films of the 80s, directed by the amazing cinematic giant John Huston, director of such amazing films as Asphalt Jungle and Treasure of the Sierra Madre, one of the greatest filmmakers of our time, anytime. Prizzi's Honor stars the awesome Jack Nicholson and the sexy Kathleen Turner as two hitmen and hitwoman, him for the mob, her a Polish independent contractor, who fall in love, and it's a cute love story. But eventually there's contracts put out on both of them, and they're given the contracts. Is their love too strong to kill each other, or is their job with the mob going to make them do each other in? Watch this movie and find out. It's dark and funny. It's got a couple amazing side performances by Angelica Houston, John Huston, the director's daughter, and an aging William Hickey as an old mobster. It's just a real hidden gem. So check out Prizzi's Honor. If you love Jack Nicholson and have never seen this movie, or if you're a John Huston fan and haven't seen it, it's worth a look. Next up, one of my favorite comedies of the 70s, one of my favorite comedies, period, and this is for the jilted, bitter, angry people on Valentine's Day. This is for those of you like me that are single at the moment. The Heartbreak Kid. Really a bitter little black comedy written by Neil Simon and directed by Elaine May. It stars Charles Grodin and Jeannie Berlin as a young Jewish couple. Charles Grodin in the opening scene is trying to get in Jeannie Berlin's pants, and she says, nope, not until we're married, and so he quickly marries her. It's a classic story of boy marries girl to get in her pants, and then once he's married to her, the dust settles, and he's like, what the fuck did I just do? Even en route to their honeymoon, there's a great scene with her at this diner, and she's eating an egg salad sandwich, and she's got pieces all over her face, and he's staring at her in disgust, and like, oh my God, I'm chained to this woman for eternity. And then he gets to his little honeymoon spot in Florida and falls in love with Sybil Shepherd, who was gorgeous back then. And she's this Jewish kid's wet dream. She's blonde and leggy and just the ultimate wasp. And he's trying to hook up with her, and her father, played by Edward Albert, is just totally horrified by this Jewish newlywed barking up the leg of his waspy daughter. And hilarity ensues. And Eddie Albert was also took home a Best Supporting Actor Oscar for this film. And he's amazing. Everybody's amazing, and it's a great dark comedy and a great film to watch for jilted lovers on this happy Valentine's Day. And last up, Apocalypto. This, ladies, is for your boyfriend who just refuses to watch anything romantic because he's just too freaking manly. So fool him with this one, because yes, deep down, Apocalypto, a romance, sure, why not? I mean, the core of the story is some guy fighting to survive and get back to his wife and child who are drowning in a pit that he placed them in for their own safety, and now it could be their own grave. Will love triumph? Will he get back to those he loves most? Check out this, one of the best movies of the last 25 years, if not the greatest film of the last 25 years. It's just so visceral and action-packed and beautiful to look at, and just a masterpiece of modern cinema. I think I just stuck this in as an excuse to do a review on this film. If you haven't seen this movie, what are you fucking waiting for? And happy Valentine's, everybody. And until next time, this is the Kris Kondrad Movie Review Show. Thanks for joining me.